I've had the pleasure of being around for this Bay Area artist when he released 7 days a week and collab with other artists like Wale, Kelly Rowland, and the living legend Raphael Sadiq. His new project, RnBay Szn, is here and he's giving us just what we needed. Welcome to the show, Adrian Marcel. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm divinely blessed. How you doing? How you doing?
Good, good. It's been a minute, so thank you for releasing RnBay Szn.
Yeah,
We love it. And your last release was 2019.
yeah, yeah.
How are you enjoying that time space from 2019 and 2024?
Man, well, obviously COVID happened.
Yeah,
The quarantine kicked in. So, I took a step back. For about a year and a half. I did not try to fight COVID. I did not try to fight the situation or what the world was going through. It was a shutdown. So I went right along with it and shut down too. I think it was a great reset for me.
hmm,
There was so much going on coming out of the labels in 98, the 98 project being my first independent challenge, of a project, going through that, doing the Bobby DeBarge story, with TV One,
yeah,
getting that acting bug, being able to experience something different. I think it was good for me to just reset and refresh. I was able to just be a dad, I was able to just kind of hone in on life,
yeah.
in real time. And throughout that time, of course, when something is meant, when something is destined for you, no matter what you do, whether you stop, whether you slow down, whatever it is, what's for you is for you, and it's always waiting and calling for him. Sorry. It it really changed around 2021, the end. I was being pulled back in the studio. I was being pulled back into a creative process. And at that time, God did what he does. He throws those wrenches in there to say you think you
Yeah.
do this, but no, this is what I want you to do. I hooked up with my now partner, Sonny B, of CRSB, a phenomenal producer, writer,
Hmm.
artist, and him and myself linked up, and I mean, it was an instant marriage, and with that, I was kind of thrown into a different creative process to music, and I was able to re-fall in love with that. I can't lie
Nice.
and say that I've always been in love with the creative process since dealing with the labels, dealing with the politics of what it takes to make music in that structure.
Hmm.
So now, you know, 2021 to 2024 has just been a complete refocus of creation, for me, to where I'm so in love with the music that I'm doing. I'm so in love with the process that we formulated, to make the music, the team around me, the creatives that are around me, everybody some sort of way connected to the Bay Area, and that's really where it comes to being RnBay Szn, because
Right.
it focused around the way the Bay Area does it, the way the Bay Area creates R&B, our sound. I had so much time to think about how everybody has their way of doing R&B, whether it's Chicago, whether it's LA, New York, Atlanta, Texas. I mean, even the Ohio's and whatnot.
Right.
Everybody has their way, and their artists that have proven that. And I guess for me, it was like, well, what does the Bay sound for R&B?
Hmm.
The women were holding it down, but I looked at it like from a male perspective. What males in the past 10 years have stamped a sound for the Bay Area and took that
Right.
seat at the table. So that's what it became for me and Sonny, was to really, really go for that seat at the table and say, well, okay, well, we're going to create a sound, that is from the soil, for the soil, but take it to the world. So RnBay Szn is really, us saying that this is our season from the Bay to make our seat here and to say this is ours. We
Yeah.
sharing it to everybody. We so often see people come to the Bay Area and take sounds, take sonics, take swag, take sauce, and kind of restructure it and sell it back to us. But for this, it was like, we're gonna put this together in a way that you can't just take this and run with it. You have to, number one, be from here. You have to, number one, know the history of the soil that's here, what it stands for culturally. Um, and, I guess in that time, I had a lot of time to think about these things and to really, make it bigger than Adrian Marcel comeback
Right.
or anything like that. It had to be deeper. So, this is more of a movement for the Bay Area, just as much as it is for me and my team.
The hybrid soul with Kelly Kinkaid is your destination for music and culture discovery.
Right.
So I know people, when they see your face and they hear your music, it's like, oh, I know who that is. But I
Yeah.
would like to discover, I would want people who listen to discover who is Adrian Marcel,
Yeah.
because you started you have a great catalog, and
Thank
singing
you.
has never been a problem for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm curious, with the recent news of Frankie Beverly, who is a living legend,
Man, rest
um
in peace.
when you started singing, how old were you? How did you get into singing, in the church, or and who are some of your musical influences?
Yeah. I think singing goes back way past what I can even comprehend or
Mhm.
you know. I mean, there's videos of me as can't even talk, and I'm dancing and singing. I'm trying to be MC Hammer, and
Uh-huh.
the rest. I have to give credit to the women in my life.
Okay.
My grandmother, my mother, my auntie, rest her soul. They kept me around good music. That was like, I was like they, I mean, every auntie or something got they little nephew or something that they like. Look, this is my baby right here. I take him
Right.
everywhere I go. And when it's time, I was the one that was like, hey, come in here and sing that song, do that dance, do that Frankie Lyman right there. Because
Right.
they'd be sitting up there with their homegirls and everything, and doing what they do, whether they sipping or whatever, in their
Right.
zone, and they like, look, perform for us, baby. So I had an audience very young that was
Mhm.
extremely supportive. I always say, I hear so many people talk about, you know, the the challenges they face with not having love around them or support, and having to get where they are, through that. And for me, I can't say that it was just I was surrounded by that. I was surrounded by so much love and support,
Right.
and especially again from the women in my life. I did not grow up in the church. I grew up going to church, but I did not grow up in the choir,
Mhm.
and in some ways, I think it kind of separated me. Everybody that I know who sings, especially from here, a lot of their backgrounds is the church. A lot of their backgrounds is, training from choirs. But for me, I didn't really get into choirs until I got to high school because I went to a
Mhm.
charter school, Oakland School for the Arts, for high school. So that's where I started to get that other type of training, whether it was classical, whether it was alternative jazz, just folk. I mean, all type of different genres that I think added to what I had naturally gifted from God. I
Right.
was able to do some other training and things like that. Um, but as I got older, a lot of people like a lot of old school people influenced me early on. And a lot of my friends clown me because they're like, "That's why you sing so old school now." Because I grew up on a lot of like Frankie Lyman. I
Yeah.
grew up on a lot of Al Green. Um, um, Jackie Wilson's, Sam Cooke's, and then as I started to get a little older, it turned into like the Maxwells, and then the Tanks, and then the Genuine. I think Genuine was a very pivotal point for me,
Mhm.
like his era, the 100% Genuine, the Bachelor albums, like because I felt like I was looking at someone who resembled me. You know what I'm saying? Or I resembled a little bit more like, okay, this is somebody that, you know, I do the curls, he got the curls. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Singing to the girls, the women, the ladies, and it was still kind of like what I was surrounded by. You come from the Bay Area, again, I didn't grow up around the church like that. I was
Hmm.
still, again, from East Oakland, so I was still around people who were in the streets. I was still around people who were, in that scene as well. So being able to kind of put that urban side to it and feel like it was a little more of a rugged R&B. It was a little more, it spoke to me a little more, so the
What
Genuines. Go
what
ahead.
was that? What was that song from Genuine that you would sing in practice? I'm curious.
Oh man, see, that's the thing. It got me in trouble really because anytime I could sing that pony, it was
Yeah.
automatic. I remember singing that for our parent back to school night, and my mother almost wrung my neck out. I mean, she was pissed. Like, this is what you decided to sing,
Right.
but all the teachers was up there like, hey,
Did you look? Did you have the wine? You had the wine
I had
too.
the wine. I had the man. Listen, I put it all on. I even had the jailed sideburns. Okay, I mean, it was yeah. I didn't have no sense of like reading the room like all these
Yeah.
friends and stuff. I'm in it, honey, let's do it. Like oh no, no, my mother walked right on out. Like oh no, that is not my son, y'all.
That's funny. That's funny. So
Yeah.
funny. I mentioned Frankie Beverly. You have a nice
Yes.
tone. I saw you sing a few bars of some Frankie
Oh
Beverly, and I
yeah.
said,
Oh
okay, he got a
yeah.
tone. What was
You
what
know.
was one of your favorites?
My favorite, man, you know what I really love? I mean, there's so many. Like Frankie Beverly had
Yeah.
hits, but I would have to say we are one. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
as a husband, as a father today, like when you're young and you listening to these old records, no matter how much of an old soul you have, you don't, you're not able to fully grasp, the meaning behind records and what they're really talking about until you
Mm-hmm.
go through so being in a marriage, being in these long time relationships and things, you understand that and you go through these rocky times, you go through these phases where you don't really like each other all the time, you don't really, you're not really on the same page or whatever, but no matter what, man, when it comes down to it and it's all said and done, we are one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like and understanding that, and I think that's one of the reasons why even for my music, um I want to make music that is relatable to everyone, and everyone meaning not just the singles, the married people, the people that's been together for years, the people that are just meeting, the people that, sneaking around. I mean,
Yeah.
real situations, real things that are happening in real time, and being able to put real lyrics in rather than just trendy lyrics that are
Yeah.
hot for right now, that'll make sense right now. You know what I mean? Like this, I call it the IG trends.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's more about like what is gonna hit somebody's soul. That's gonna become their soundtrack for whether it's their day, their relationship, their
Mm-hmm.
marriage, whatever it is. Like I want it to be the soundtrack for you, and to be that, you have to make something that's real that people can feel, and I feel like that's something that Frankie Beverly did extremely well, you
Right.
know, um, making records that, were your soundtrack. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean,
Yeah.
to this day, you hear a Frankie Beverly song and you immediately get caught in it. You stop everything you're doing, or no matter whether you're busy or not, your mind is drawn to that because of the soul he's putting into it. You talk
Yeah.
about tones, and Frankie Beverly had one of those very distinctive voices that
Mm-hmm.
not everybody can just emulate. And it's inspiring to somebody like me who really takes it serious, who loves music the way I do, um,
Yeah.
to really fight for that, to fight to have that same impact to my fans, to my audiences, or just anyone who comes across my music in general.
Yeah. Your career, you've I said you work with the living legend,
Yeah,
Raphael Sadiq.
yeah,
And I'm curious to know from the start of 7 days a week till now, RnBay season,
yeah.
how have what are three things that you have grown from the experience of working with all these people?
Yeah.
like a Raphael Sadiq?
Number one, just, the understanding of self,
Mm-hmm.
and how important it is to know who you are, to be very sure about what you want out of things. A lot of artists, when we're coming into this and we're new or we're trying to figure things out, you get lost in, the pool. You get lost in the pool of music and artistry and politics and all that. It becomes a race, a rat race, about, you know, the number ones, the money and the plaques and all of this stuff, and you forget that you were a kid back in the day doing it for nothing else but the love of what it made you feel, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I've been blessed to be around artists, like you said, living legends, um, that weren't afraid to share the fact that it's like when it's all said and done, gotta still love this. It's gotta be deeper than just the check sometimes. It has to be about the love, because the
Yeah.
money gonna go up and down, the fame gonna go up and down. The love can't though. The love has to be consistent, and if it's not, you gotta be willing to take a step back and recalibrate. I've also learned that you can't take yourself so serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't drink the Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? Because so many people, fans, they're coming up to you and they're screaming, they're saying how much you did this, you done that, you did this. It's like, but you have to understand that, it's a gift that you were blessed with, and
Yeah.
it's not yours, you don't own it. We're leasing these gifts. We lease them for these lifetimes that we have, and at the end of it, we got to give it back.
Yeah.
And if we don't use it properly and we abuse it, it gets taken. You know,
Yeah.
um, so just keeping a sense of self, keeping a sense of the love, and at the same time just remaining humble. Remaining humble through all of this, man. It's a duty that we have as artists, as creatives that do something special that everybody's not able to do, um, to just be responsible with it. Be responsible with people's hearts, with people's souls, with people's love that they give to you.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I mean, everybody's gonna have different stories. Like everybody's gonna have somebody out there that didn't get that moment or didn't get the best moment out of you,
Mm-hmm.
wrong time, whatever. But for the most part, I truly believe that, um, all the people that love my music, that have, had the chance to meet me, be around me in any sort of way, um, can feel that it's deeper than just music for me. That it's
Yeah.
a understanding and love for, you know um, for people in general, and just to inspire everything that I want to do. Whether I'm just speaking to you, whether I'm singing, whether I'm acting, dancing, whatever it is I'm doing, I always hope to inspire and motivate, and just, allow God's love to shine through me, so that others can feel the same way and get closer.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk about RnBay season.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that you are the mayor of Bip City, though?
Hey man, listen. You know, I'll say this. There's a lot of people in position out here that do a lot,
Uh-huh.
but for me, I definitely am the liaison between
Okay.
the Bay and our culture as far as R&B is concerned. With R&B, I am the Reverend. I am the liaison. I am
Yes.
the founding father. I'm all that. You know what I mean, Mr. Bippy Le Pew.
I
Um,
love it. I
you
love it.
know, I always say, I'm like, man, I didn't created this record, Bip City. I can't get Bip now. I gotta make sure I gotta make sure I'm the last person that get Bip these days now.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
still, as of right now, I'm still good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
How fun was it putting this album together? Because it's like from top to bottom,
Yeah.
solid.
Come on, come on. Thank you, thank you. I mean, I had a blast. I'm still having
Yeah.
a blast.
Yeah.
Like I said, to go from a space where, the creativity and freedom to be creative. I'm sorry, is condensed and
Mm-hmm.
compressed, to now having this completely open space and, universe to just do what feels good. I think
Yeah.
if there's anything I learned creating this catalog of music, this new catalog of music, is that, you know, I no longer make music for the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make music thinking, man, these people gonna like this. This audience gonna like this. People gonna love this. I make music now for me to love first.
Yeah.
If I love it, it's good. You know what I mean? It's good because I'm not a biased person. I'm not naive. If I hear myself sound weak, I'm say it quick. This
Yeah.
ain't it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? This ain't it. The song won't get finished if it's not
Right.
if it's not up
Right.
to par. You know, but with this batch of music, man, it's so dope being around creatives that I am, man. You know, people like Sunny B, people like Chris Ramos, people like Jane Hancock, people like Ren Nicole and Anthony Francisco and Paisley, and I mean there's so many dope individuals that are a part of the music creative
Yeah.
process and such now, and it's just like, man, we be in there having a blast,
Yeah.
having real conversations about the music. We're not just in there battling for a bar. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there like, I'm trying to get my bar on. I'm trying to get my line across, or it's like, nah, no one's afraid to be like,
Right.
nah, maybe close. That's close. Let's
Right.
keep pushing, and then having a conversation about where we are in the record. Like
Mm-hmm.
how do we move on from this? What feels good? There's no formulas when we're writing these songs now, and you can hear it in records like Pulling Up. You know, Pulling Up is technically one verse, one chorus, and one pre-hook,
And with
and
DJ Drama.
with
Hey.
DJ Drama. You know what I'm saying? But it's literally one. It's a half a song that we
Yeah.
said, listen, we love this so much. Nah, now all we gonna do, instead of starting with the verse again, we gonna start with the pre-hook when we get to the second verse. And the pre-hook's gonna go into the chorus, and the chorus is gonna go into the verse. And then it's whatever we want it to be.
The
I like it
formula.
like this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Y-
I mean, songs like "Loving Me," all of these songs have their different feels, and you know, RnBay Szn was a sampler of the entirety of what the genre is to us. I think right now we have over 200 records in the vault, and these are
I'm
all new,
sure.
and we're all new from 2021 to now, and we're still making new music. And we just did three
Yeah.
records the other night, so it's just us loving the process of making music and making these records, and it's so enjoyable because it's almost like we're putting our experiences on paper now, on
Yeah.
wax, I mean, on records, and to be able to share them in a way that can be digested easy. It's not something that you have to, think too deep on. There's not a lot of symbolism like, oh, this red, we talked about a red balloon because it means, like, nah,
Yo,
man.
it's a movement. It's definitely a movement. And when we talk about dope individuals, Bip City, you got the living legend E40. Like
40,
if you're
40.
gonna do R&Bay season, E40 got to be a part of it. Tell me how that collaboration happened and the video. Let's talk about this song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this record is extremely special. I mean,
Yeah.
it it was the moment we realized the name. We
Mm-hmm.
knew the name of the genre after this record. We had I think Bib City was probably number 60.
Wow.
We was already 60 records in, and we ended up doing this record because one of my good friends, DJ Kleptic out here, he pulled up to my house and he was just like, man, I ain't never heard no hyphy like over some R&B. Like, we from the Bay, like, why aren't we like mixing hyphy with R&B and all of that? Like, take some Keek the Sneak and put some chords over that, like some R&B chords. I'm like, bro, you might be on to something. You know what I mean? And at this
Definitely.
time, it was just crazy because at this time there's a spot that's at this point it's damn near closed down now because of all the bipping, but it was like a bip hotspot. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you would see like a slew of cars, 15, 20 cars just all bipped back to back. If you parked your car there, it's guaranteed to get bipped. And there was like, it's something that's been happening, but at this point, this was the beginning of it really being talked about and noticed how much it was getting crazy. And it was just like, man, like, like take something that's ours,
Right.
dipping. And I'm like, bruh, but I ain't bipping no cars, bruh. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that ain't the thing. You feel me? He like, nah, bruh. Like you know how we do. We put new meanings on things. I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. We do. You talk about
The
E40.
bay's different. The
We
bay's different.
different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the creator of
Yeah.
cabbage and Gouda and broccoli and you know what I mean? Like meaning what it means. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's we can have our own dictionary of uh,
Facts.
of lingo. So
Because Adrian, tell people, because we have listeners all over. What is bip? Because I know somebody's like, "What's bipping?"
yeah, so bipping is a snatch and go.
Uh,
Somebody,
bip.
you leave your car. Yeah, you leave your car unattended, whether it's locked, whatever. You might leave something as small as a charger in the seat. You might leave something even more valuable. You might have your laptop or something just sitting in in the seat or whatever. And somebody's gonna come up. They gonna pop the smallest window. It's usually that little small, most expensive window in the back and they're gonna grab what they can and get out of there. And a lot of the times
Wow.
it's with no witness. Um, you know, so for us though, again, I'm an R&B light skinned Elder Barge. Look,
Yes.
I can't talk about bipping no cars. You know
Right.
what I mean? That's not gonna work. So for us, it was like we have to make it a little more player than that.
Yeah.
And the Bay is known for our playerism. So, you know, when I was growing up, people wasn't scared to come to Oakland because they felt like they was gonna get beat up or jumped. The only time that would happen is if you came kind of high side and showing out. You know what I mean? Then
Right.
your car would get pulled. But you were scared that who you brought is not who's leaving with you.
Right. Wow.
So it was that it was like, okay, well, we got our own little snatch and goes too. We got our
Right.
own little slip and slides. You pull up to a function and there's a lot of beautiful women in there. They sponsors ain't it. They ain't holding it down. And you make that call like, hey bro, you got to get down here immediately. It's Bib City in here, bro. Yeah, like they ready. You know what I'm saying? So you might
Yes.
you might slip in real quick, say a couple, you feel me? And next thing you know, you got somebody in the party like, hey, you seen Sarah? Anybody seen Sarah? Like Sarah left like 20 minutes ago with all six of her homies, with whoever the crew that walked in here and got up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's something that has had, it's a everybody has these tales of, man, you brought somebody to the party and man, they chose up. So
Right.
for us, we took something that was something derogatory, something that's looked at as extremely negative, and put our own spin on it. You know what I mean? And again, that's something that the Bay is known for. And
Yeah.
in talking about something like that, that's so Bay Area, and on a song that is extremely Bay Area. I mean, you got Keek the Sneak. It's inspired by the Keek the Sneaks. Boom, 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 boom,
Mm-hmm.
boom, 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 boom. Then you also got a little D-Lo in there to stomp, ba, 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 ba. You know what I mean? We using lingo like the late Mac Dre. STUPID. We don't need ID. You know what I'm saying? So we're incorporating all of this culture that we grew up on in the Bay Area, and then putting these chords over it. But to accomplish it, who do you got to go get to stamp it? You got to go get the ambassador himself.
40
You have to
water.
go get the man himself, the
Yeah.
water. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to go get water.
Yes.
So we had everybody calling 40. We had everybody reaching out to 40,
Yeah.
and how things work. It's funny. I have all these people reaching out to him, but it came down to the moment I reached out to him. You
Mm.
know, I'm going through all these other people, and I'm like, you know what? One day, Sonny's like, man, why don't you just hit him, bruh? I'm like, man, I ain't talked to 40 in a minute, bruh. You know, so I DM'd him, and he hit me right back. He was like, send it to me, let me hear it. I sent him the record immediately, and from what I hear, 40 wasn't gonna do it because he seen the title, and the title was Bip City. And he was like, "Oh no, no, I can't talk about Bipping. I can't be a part of that. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's a dope, scenario, whatever." But shout out to Hitter Slim, shout out to Cousin Feek because they made it a point for 40 to listen to it. They
So
were like, "No, 40, you gotta hear it though. You just listen to the record."
yeah.
And he heard it, and man, I was sitting on the couch. My son was laying on my chest. We was watching Bluey, the Nickelodeon cartoon, man. And I looked at my phone, and 40 ain't never FaceTime me, and at no
Yeah.
point in knowing him or nothing. And I looked up and seen 40 on a FaceTime. I must have threw my son off me. I'm like, watch out, man. I gotta get
Hello?
up and get, you feel me? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
hello? What's happening? You know what I mean? And he was just like, hey, this a hit. This a
It's a
hit. I'm
hit.
like, man, this is player. I love this. This is something that we should have been people should have been doing out here. You know what I'm saying? This is
Mm-hmm.
RnBay. I'm like, exactly. You get it. And then I told him, I'm like, bro, I'm not bipping cars. We bipping women. He like, oh, enough said. Enough said. You know.
Right.
Now, mind you, everybody told me 40 was gonna take 4 months to record the record. He took 40 minutes,
I love
sent it
it.
right back to me. And I had to listen to it 40 times just to get all of the sauce he was putting into it,
Yeah.
like kayaking through traffic. I mean, do you understand
Yeah.
how it looks to kayak? This is
Right.
not rowing.
Right.
You're not rowing, you're kayaking.
Yeah.
Kayaking is, and that's what we do in traffic. We swerving through, you know what I mean? Like all of the lingo he put in there, all of the culture that he put into that 12 bar, that 16 bars, like
Yeah.
he's still innovative throughout all his these years of his career. To still be innovative today just is a testimony of the soil here, and now he did take 4 or 5 months to do the video, but that's okay. You know what I'm
But
saying?
we
Like,
got it though. It's
we
an
got it
amazing video.
though. You know what I'm
Amazing
saying?
video. Amazing
We
video.
thank you. And even then, it's crazy because shout out to my team, the Brodies, another
Yeah.
film by the Brodies. We have our own film company that we use, that we do for all of our visuals, all of our videos. Today, we come up with the concepts, we shoot it, light it. I mean, everything is us, and we have an amazing team of creatives that are part of that. Momo Vigilante, Hella Frames, Art by Black, Migs. I mean, there's some dope Jay. There's so many dope people
Mm-hmm.
involved in the process of our creative situation when it comes to visuals. But we always start extremely big.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we, we started up there. You know what I mean? So we had this vision of Bip City being like what's that Sin City. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we were like,
Uh-huh.
okay, man, I've been gone from the Bay for this long, and I moved away, but now I'm coming back, and my girl Angel, she's trapped with the big boss 40 Water, and he got her up at the top of the this, and we gotta come and we gonna fight. We gonna fight with these swords. He got a
Right.
slew of girls that's protecting him, and we gonna fight with swords and all of this. It's gonna be like a Kill Bill slash Sin City, and I mean,
Ambitious.
it was so crazy when I sent it to 40, he didn't even respond. He was like, I ain't doing that.
I'm about to
I,
come here and I'm gonna do my thing.
I ain't doing none of that. That sound like 2 days worth of shooting. He didn't even respond.
Right.
And then we started going through it and we like, you know what? That budget sounds crazy. So how about we condense it and make it more about the culture?
Yeah.
like how do we bring the culture to this visual? And um, man, we always pivot and land right where we're supposed to be because we were able to bring like some very intricate parts of the Bay Area to
Yeah.
we were able to bring two groups together that aren't aren't usually working together or in the same space, like the
Hmm.
turf fiends, which are monumental dancers of turfing, something that is extremely monumental to the Bay Area. And then also the newer age, which is the Black Flag Dance Crew, that are the next generation of that Bay Area vibe and dance style. And we were able to put them together in a video. We were able to use monumental locations like the Oakland Tribune, something that has been around for my entire childhood. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Swinging cars, like we swinging five Mustang 5.0s, man. That's like, you know what I mean, in a
I saw
R&B
you. I saw you out
hanging
hanging
out
out
the
the
window. You know what I'm
window.
saying? Because that's what we do. I grew up in the
Yeah.
sideshows.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the culture of the Bay Area, and to bring it all to film like that. When we shot it, we shot everything but 40's parts. And I was hitting 40. He was at this point. He got Earl Stevens. He's on his tour for that.
Yeah.
He's this and that. So I'm just trying to catch up with him. I'm like, we end up at the same place. I'm like, 40, we ready for the video. He's like, oh, let's do it. We can do it tomorrow. Call him. He all the way in Timbuktu now. You know what I'm saying? Like he's somewhere else. So it took a minute, but when we got it, I mean, it was
Amazing.
amazing. The vibe
And
was
you
amazing.
dancing.
We dancing,
I see you. I
really,
see
really
you.
putting it in. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never danced in none of my videos before, so that was like the first time. Just again showcasing the next side, the next side. I'm not gonna say the new side, but even with this music, when we talked about creating the R&B genre, it was about how
Hmm.
you reintroduce yourself as the real you,
Yeah.
not the condensed you, not the compressed you, not the industry you, where it's like, okay, you don't want to show too much of this. You don't want to, nah, man, what you see is what you get. This is who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're multifaceted in the Bay Area. You might get you might get the corporate voice today, and then next thing you know, you get you feel me? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? So
Code
you
switching.
you know what I mean? So, but it's both
Real.
very true. It's both very
Yeah.
real and organic, and that's the way we are out here. We know how to melt into any group, any
Yeah.
situation, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? What side of me do I need to give right now? You know what I
Right.
mean? Okay, let me
Right.
put my tie on real fast. How you doing? Yes, I appreciate you taking the time out and all of that. And then next thing you know, what's happening, baby? You know what I'm saying? You feel? You know what I mean? It could go either way. You know what I mean?
The feelings of when you were the last song on this project
Yeah.
mixed and it's ready to go, did you ever have that thought like, ooh, what if last project was 2019? What was those thoughts? What were those thoughts?
Nah, I can't say that I did. Again,
Beautiful.
because making this music with the mindset of this is for me and
Mm-hmm.
not so much about what the listeners. For me it was more of a like I'm juiced right now. Like
Nice.
I'm ready to get this out. I'm ready for the world to hear it. I'm ready for people to receive it because I was prepared for a little backlash. I was prepared for the what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Because even me in the initial space of creating it was like, yeah, okay, this is new. This is different. This
Yeah.
is different for me. Like, you said it earlier. You said, the vocals that I've always bring like this, it's no surprise, and I think that was a conversation we had to have was like, look, everybody knows you can sing.
Yeah.
How long are you gonna keep trying to prove that you can sing?
Mm-hmm.
There is so many other sides to you. You know, yes, a lot of people can go in there and sing a house down, but can you go from singing a house down to going to the club and swagging out? And you know what I mean? These are different groups we talking about. And one thing I've just again being from the Bay, you have that ability to whether you're at the club, whether you're at the auditorium, whether you're at the winery, whatever, you know what I mean? You can melt into all of that. Like this audience needs the vocals tonight. This audience ain't caring about no vocals. They drunk, they tipsy, they feeling themselves, they want to party, they want to feel like, you know what I mean? It's so being able to do it all. And starting with Bip City, I knew that it was like people are expecting me to come into it blowing. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it's like, nah, we gotta showcase the genre first. And that's why Bip City came first. And then Wait came, featuring CRSB to showcase, okay, no, there's an R&B side to this. And then we jump right back into with the AOBs,
Yeah.
where it's like, nah, we back in the club right now. And then jump back into So Good with Miss Jane Hancock, because it's like, oh, but wait a minute, but we at the roller skate now. We, you know what I'm saying? We giving them the vibe now. And then drop Loving Me,
So,
because
Adrian, I wanted to tell you, I felt like, well, listening to this project, I danced and I felt like I wanted to go skating.
come
Oh,
on, come on,
OMG. Like,
yes,
we got Bip City, but I was bopping the whole time.
come on,
And
come
as
on,
you go into, I stopped you, but I wanted to talk about, you're about to talk about Loving on Me.
yes, yes,
Super hit, makes
thank
me feel warm and fuzzy,
you,
makes
yeah,
me feel more in love. I
yeah,
want to talk about this song,
yes.
how you put it together, and it's amazing.
Man, shout out to Sunny B, shout out to Paisley, shout out to Anthony Francisco and Ren Nicole. Um,
Mhm.
we actually, this was one of the records that we wrote while we were at the Airbnbs. Like what we were doing, Sunny B and I were booking these Airbnbs, and we were calling all of our creative friends and people, and we would have the Airbnbs for like 3 days, and we would turn them into studios. So I mean, if these people came back and seen their house when we was in there, I mean, they would have a heart attack because we was moving
Right.
furniture, we was moving like, you know what I mean, like all type of stuff to make, bring in the big speakers, bring in the instruments, and for 72 hours, all we would do is just make music, and it would just be a
Wow.
house full of creatives, 5 or 6 photographers and videographers working together that have never worked together before, writers that have never met coming in, and leaving the egos at the door. Like
Mhm.
most writing camps, that I've been to and I've witnessed, it's so competitive. It's it's like when you're in high school, you got cliques, the cool kids over here, the nerds sitting over here, and then it's like, hey man, we ain't doing none of that. Like, I don't care how cool you are, how many hits you got, just because you got them, that line ain't gonna work. That
Right.
line ain't it. You gonna have to mesh in with everybody here. This is a family affair. This is love, and we're here for the greater good of creating just good music that everyone here can feel a part of.
I love it.
And Loving Me was one of those records that Sunny B and I started. I heard him actually on IG Live. He was making the music on IG Live, and I
Yeah.
logged on and I seen it. I told him, hey, I texted him immediately, bring that to the studio tonight. Like, I think
Right.
I think he was making it for his group, and I'm sorry
Uh-huh.
I just hijacked it. I'm like, nah, nah,
It was
nah,
for you.
bruh. I need that,
Yeah.
and we started right. We wrote the first verse and the up into the hook, and then we brought it to the Airbnb, and our homegirl Ren Nicole, penned the rest of it with us, and man, it was just one of those records that again we talked through. It's just like, man, when you're in a relationship for a long time, and especially like the type of relationships I feel that happen out here in the Bay Area, man, it's up and down. You know what I mean? It's not all roses and everything. You know what I mean? When you're with somebody and you put them through everything they could possibly go through, and
Mhm.
this woman is still here. You know what I mean? As a man, we still have these thoughts. We still have these insecurities that, man, I didn't put you through all of this. And yes, you here, but are you here though?
Mhm.
Like, are you really here? You know how many times you see relationships where women have taken on so much, and it's really like you don't know when the last straw, what the last straw will be. It could be the smallest thing. God damn, these dishes piled up again. I'm out. I'm done. But she really been done because you didn't did all this other craziness for years on, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you think about it to yourself, like it's really having that thought, like, man, have I really been on my game enough to where I still have her the same way I did? Can another man just walk in here and just waltz in here and just walk bipper? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how easy can that be? So the song was about a masculine vulnerability to be able to say, well, how can I get reassurance from my woman that she's still here like she's been, and the love is even stronger? Well, let me reassure her. Let me let her know that, you know, just keep loving me the way you loving me. You know what I'm saying? That's why you get to the second verse. It's like slow dancing around the table, our songs playing on the radio. You know, don't it feel so right? You know, it ain't too complicated. Just come wrap your arms around me. Let's feel each other. Like, let's get back to that touch real quick. And then you see in the hearing the song, there goes that look in your eye. That's what I'm looking for right there. I want that look you gave me when I seen you back in the club for the first time, or at the
Yeah.
grocery store for the first time, or on our first date, looking
Yeah.
at me like it ain't nothing, no one else in the world that you could ever see yourself with. And that's what this is, you know. And you know, you get in these long relationships and you think to yourself, what is it that makes you hold on? You know,
Right.
you be with somebody so long you can't even stand them half the time. You know what I mean? You
Facts.
what it seems like is that
Yeah.
more often than less, you know, you're fussing, you're arguing, you're like, oh my God, my husband, you know, oh my God, this, you know, my wife, or like, you know what I mean? But when it come down to it, when it comes
Right.
to it though, like Frankie Beverly said, we are one.
We are one. It's such a beautiful song. I can listen to it. I love this album. I love the
Thank
sequencing of
you. Thank you.
this.
Thank you.
Um, being from Oakland,
Yeah.
putting music out like this, like
Yeah.
what does that mean to you mean to you in your legacy
Yeah.
as in catalog?
Yeah. For me, it's a monumental moment, uh,
Mhm.
because you know, being independent, um, being having the freedom that I have right now to make this type of music. I don't think I would be able to make this music this way, if I was still condensed and compressed, within the machine. Just because it's not something that is the immediate wave that everybody is on. You know, I think this is the first time in a long time that I have really had a clear direction of where I was going and what I was doing. You know, it's I feel like this is that point where that switch happens. You know, where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, there's a great catalog. You know, I can't take away what 7 days a week is. I can never take away what week after next, or you know, even the GMFUs. But I feel like when I got to GMFU, there was it was more of trying to create music out of this bitterness, trying to create music to prove a point, trying
Mhm.
to, you know, there were all of these negative emotions going into it. You know, seven people will never understand. 7 days a week was created out of pain. 7 days a
Mhm.
week was created out of pressure. You know, that was being in a basement every day, all day, not knowing what time it is, because all you're being told is that, listen, all we here to do is make music. Why you gotta eat? Why you need to leave? Why you gotta, like, y'all should be making music. Y'all ain't made no new music. Da da da. You know what I mean? It's like the pressure, and I appreciate it at the same time because it turned me into the beast I am as far as when it comes to recording and all of that. But it's just, I always think back to the pain and the pressure that went into making that music,
Yeah.
because you're making it in hopes of getting something, in hopes of something changing your life. You know, GMFU was made out of bitterness. It was like, y'all didn't let me go. I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all that I can do this. And you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like,
Mhm.
and even 98 was me not being pressured by any entity or anything like that, but being pressured by myself to say, okay, I'm independent now. I gotta make this music. I gotta utilize this. I gotta, you know, this is the first time that I ever sat back and said, hey, for the next 2 years, this all we doing is showing up to the studio and trying to outdo the last song I just did because I ain't stopped listening to it since I left the other night.
Yeah.
So I need a
Yeah.
new song tonight that I can slap for the next 2 or 3 days, back to back to back. And that's all it's been. Every time I go to the studio now, when there's that moment where I'm driving to the studio and I think to myself, man, in the next like 8 hours, I'm gonna have a song that I've never heard before. I'm gonna have something. I'm gonna hear myself singing some lyrics that I've never heard. I'm gonna hear myself singing a melody that I've never had. You know what I mean? It's just that feeling of, you know, man, I'm gonna have something brand new that I love, that I know, because I'm not gonna leave the studio until I love it, you know,
Yeah.
and the people with me aren't gonna leave the studio until they love it. And if
Yeah.
we all love it, it's a hit, you know. So this new batch of music, this new catalog of music, like again, these are the first 6 records. I mean, there's 20 records going on the album, and I'm gonna give it to everybody in pieces. You got season
Nice.
one, you got this season one, which is 6 records. The next season will be three. Season after that might be two, and then you get the album, and then you get the acoustic album, and then you get the bilingual album, and then you get the
See.
next batch. You know what I'm saying? It's just we sat back in 2021 and said to ourselves, we need to set up the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be we just finna make a record and as soon as we get something we like, we're gonna just shoot it to the world. It's deeper than that. If you're talking about creating a genre, you're talking about creating a sound that has a home, that has a location to it, that you can pinpoint on Google Maps. It's got to be bigger. It's got to
Mm-hmm.
be deeper. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I love that you're receiving it the way that you receive it. The people, me and Sunny B sat on the balcony at the studio in 2021 and talked about this. We talked about how we would present this and spoon feed it. Like we're not rushing this out. We're not trying to pressure ourselves in any way, shape, or form. If something doesn't happen, it's because it wasn't meant to happen and it's not supposed to. Um, we may start up here and end up here, but when we get here, though, this
Right.
is what it was supposed to be,
Right.
and it never fails. I love the again. It's just a pivotal moment for me in my musical career because I'm just in a space of just pure bliss when I make music because it's like, hey, whether you like it or you love it, I'm slapping this at a ridiculous volume. You know what
I
I'm
love
saying?
that.
And
I love that.
I see people receiving it the same way, man. So I appreciate it. I love that it's growing. And like you
Yeah.
said, it's about it being a movement. And
Yeah.
you create a movement. A movement isn't created over one night. You know, that's
No.
gonna take some time. But every person, every ear that gets it, that falls in love with it, they go and talk about it. And those are 2 or 3 more people that find out about it and fall in love with it. And then they go tell 2 or 3 more people, and then so on and so forth. And next thing you know, you
That's
have a
not a
whole
movement.
people that are just like, man, I need more, you
Yeah.
know. And it grows each record, each song. I watched it as we released it from Bib City to Wait to AOB to So Good to Loving Me. By the time we got to So Good, I watched it being Bip City took 3 or 4 months for people to start talking about it. You know, I mean that can discourage an artist. That could slow you down. But it took 3 or 4 months for people to even start noticing the record.
Yeah.
Wait, almost the same thing. Then AOB, and then it was like people started talking about Bip City once AOB dropped, and then going back to Wait, and then when So Good dropped, next thing I know, we're on playlists, we're on blogs, we're looking at People Magazine, and Vibe and all this stuff, and I'm just like, we talked about this, we knew that it was going to be a slow burn, and that's what's happening right now. So I'm loving that people are feeling it. There's so much more to come. And but we gonna make sure that these 6 first get
Yeah.
the just due and the love that they need. You know what I mean? Because they are the representation of the genre right
I love the enthusiasm and passion that you speak about this. It makes my job easy.
Yeah.
But RnBay Season on tour, what is going on? When will I be able to, be in the crowd and bip
Yeah.
and bop and all that?
Yeah. Yeah. We
What's going
talked. Yeah.
on?
It's funny. I was just on a meeting with the team,
Uh-huh.
talking about it, putting it together right now. We have a couple ideas, working with my band to create a whole new show. Um, just again, taking our time with it because when we do it, I want it to be right.
Yeah.
I want it to be that same feeling when you come to the show to be able to see this new side, this next side. It's on the way. We're booking a bunch of shows right now, and we're just looking at how we want to do it, what it looks like, what it feels like, how it feels. Just dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's before we do it. But it is on the way. I can't wait to
I
see you,
love it.
bro. We're gonna have the backstage passes for you.
I'm
So we
there.
can,
I'm there. I'm ready.
come on, bring
I'm
all the
learning the dance
come
challenge
on.
for Bips. I got it. I
Yeah,
got it.
yeah, exactly.
We
Exactly.
could talk on and on. My last question for you, Adrian, is Adrian Marcel from RnBay Season. What would you tell the 7 days of week
Hmm.
Adrian Marcel? What would you tell
Hmm.
him?
Hmm. That's a really good question. You know, I would probably tell 7 days a week, Adrian, you know, to just take it easy.
Mm-hmm.
No pressure, dog. No pressure. You know, um, it's a marathon. It's not a race.
Yeah.
Um, doesn't matter what you do right now. You're gonna still have to work. You're gonna still have to grind. This is not something that's given. This is not something that is automatically, um, privileged to you. It's earned. So um, I would just tell myself to stay prepared. Stay hungry, um, and listen to yourself a little more. Like
Mm.
trust that voice inside. Stop allowing so many outside voices to influence, you know, um, what you want the intent to be. Um, so I think that would be the most important part is just to listen to the voice inside because that voice inside has never, if you really go back and think about it, that voice inside has never steered you wrong. It's
Yeah.
never put you in no position that you did not want to be in, you know. Um, and I think that was something that I was going through at that time was just leaning on other people a little too much,
Mm-hmm.
trusting a little too much everybody else's vision. Um, and for good reason. You're new to the game. You think that they have the answers, but then you learn very quickly nobody has the answers. Everybody is out here shooting blanks, and
Yeah.
it don't count until it lands.
Word.
So I think for me it would really be just slow down, take a breath, stay humble, and listen to yourself. Fight
Yeah.
for fight for what you know you are because you are not like anybody else. You know what I mean? And that was the biggest piece I think I'll tell myself. But we made it here.
We here. We
We
here now.
we here now, and
Yeah.
I've had a blessed career, all the up and
Yeah.
downs and everything that has happened, whether it's been looked at as positive or negative, it's all been a lesson to make me better, more prepared. Um, and at this point, really, really a beast now. So, I just got asked a question the other night by a really, really dope singer, Sammy J. If you guys ever get a chance to look him,
Yeah.
if you don't know, look him up. But he's super talented, amazing vocalist. Um, he asked me the question. He said, "Man, would you do like the Hollywood thing again? Like full fledged? Would you go in there?" I'm like, I said, with this team, with this mentality now,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I said it wouldn't be no issue because it's nothing that can be said to me to detour me from what my goals and my visions are. There's nothing that can impress me, you know. There's no amount of money, there's no situation that can impress me so much that I'm willing to bend what I know is customized to me and for me. So um, in a really good place. I love what's happening. There's a lot of things happening. So I'm excited to just unveil them as they continue to come, and share them with the audience and keep inspiring other artists and other creatives and just people in general,
Yeah.
no matter what their fields are, to stick to their guns, to believe in themselves, and to continue pushing, because there is you can never put the date before the destination. You can't make the date
Hmm.
more important than the destination. It's all about what you see, where you see yourself at, and it might be 30 years, it might be 3 years, it might be 3 days, 3 months. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But as long as you make it to your destination,
Yeah.
all that matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happiness looks so wonderful on you.
Come on,
We
come on.
support you.
Thank
We're
you.
looking forward to seeing more of you, hearing you, seeing you. Um, if you could, everyone who's listening to this, please play RnBay Szn.
Come
It is a bip and a bop. We
on.
look
Come on.
forward to seeing you in person, seeing you
Yes.
perform. Just follow and support you because I love what you're doing on social media as well. I know
Thank you.
that's fun and stuff,
Yeah.
but my guest today is Adrian Marcel. Get down with the movement, RnBay Szn. It's the
Yeah.
Hybrid Soul with Kelly Kinkaid, your destination for
Yeah.
music and culture discovery. Thank you for joining me.